All right, here's a 49ers update for you. The Philadelphia Eagles have lost again, and the 49ers are now officially the number one team in the NFC. I think that symbolically that had already happened last week, right? When the 49ers went into Philly and absolutely demoralized the Eagles, I think the 49ers had taken the symbolic lead in the NFC, but they had to take the technical lead in the NFC as well. And that would require another 49ers win that happened on the field behind me here at Levi Stadium, and it would require another Philadelphia loss. That other Philadelphia loss happened in Dallas tonight, 33-13. The Cowboys absolutely thrashed the Eagles. And, there was a lot of talk, and some former Philadelphia players and media members took offense to Nick Bosa saying that he hopes that the Cowboys watch the tape of what the 49ers did to the Eagles because that could be a blueprint to beat Philadelphia. Well, it looks like Nick Bosa was right. It does look like the 49ers popped the air right out of Philadelphia's balloon. It looks like they showed the blueprint to beat Jalen Hurts and company. That is 2 straight weeks now that the Eagles have been blown out. This is an Eagles team that wasn't getting blown out last year. This is also a Philadelphia team that's significantly worse than last year. And guess what? I think that this 49ers team is significantly better than last year. I think they're actually have cultivated some depth, which we saw in this gritty 28-16 victory over Seattle today. Here's the game book. We're going to take a look at it. My article should be up soon on The Athletic. I wrote about the defense, but I'm here to talk about Brock Purdy, who has grown even stronger in the MVP race right now. And obviously, Dak Prescott's going to be in it. Dallas did well against Philadelphia today, and the MVP seems to be a quarterback award. But Brock Purdy has, I think, completely silenced any. I mean, there would never any credible criticism really of Brock Purdy, especially at the levels that we had been seeing the criticism, right? The only credible criticism of Brock Purdy was technical stuff like, oh, he's rolling out to his left too much and he's not flipping his hips the way that he should when he's escaping the pocket. All this, yak merchant stuff that people were saying, Brock Purdy is not a yak merchant. Brock Purdy is an explosive pass merchant. I mean, the guy is elite when it comes to deep throws. He's leading the league with a 65% completion rate on deep throws. He's leading the league on yards per attempt in deep throws. He leads the league with 10 touchdown passes on deep throws. Today was all about the explosive plays for the 49ers as the 49ers swept the Seahawks. And, just putting this into the context of the entire NFC, keep in mind that the 49ers beat both the Cowboys and the Eagles by 3+ scores. 42-10 over Dallas, napkin math, 32 points. 42-19 over Philadelphia, a little bit less than 32 points, but still 3 scores against the Eagles. So the 49ers are clearly the class of the NFC. Meanwhile, we're watching the AFC beat itself up, the Bills and the Chiefs today. That was Buffalo over Kansas City. Buffalo tried to go into Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, and they lost to the Eagles. So I think right now, when you look at the NFL race, it's the 49ers and everybody else. And the pack of everybody else might be led by the Ravens. The next time that the 49ers play on this field, they will host the Ravens. So the 49ers can't overlook what's next. That's a trip down to Arizona, playing the Fighting Kyler Murrays, the Arizona Cardinals. But the 49ers are going to be heavy favorites. Now, they have to heal up. This is probably the most beaten up the 49ers have been all season long. We saw some of those issues present themselves today against Seattle, but just a tremendously gritty win in what could be viewed as a trap game situation, right? The 49ers were coming off that emotional win in Philly, and they bounced back today to, again, win by 2 scores. What did I say? I'm consistent, right? Heading into this game, I said, if the 49ers can find a way to win a letdown type of game against a well-rested Seattle team, a desperate Seattle team with injuries on the 49ers side, if the 49ers could find a way to win that kind of game by 2 scores, I'd be damn impressed by their championship pedigree. This was a maturity test for the 49ers. Consider the maturity test passed. I think that, you had a lot of symbolic passages of the maturity test, right? How about Ambry Thomas and then the rookie receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba for the Seattle Seahawks? Ambry Thomas goads him into a personal foul. It's like Ambry Thomas has been to the Jawan Jennings school of pissing off opponents, except other way around, right? Jawan Jennings pisses off defensive backs, gets them to commit personal fouls, doesn't retaliate. Ambry Thomas did it today. The 49ers lost Charvarius Ward on the very first possession of the game. And we know that Charvarius Ward is, I mean, he has been the key toward defending this Seattle team and DK Metcalf. Just 2 weeks ago when the 49ers played the Seahawks, Charvarius Ward was following DK around. And that was a interjection to the game plan made by John Lynch himself. The 49ers were planning to play halves, right, with their cornerbacks defensively, Ward on one side, Deommodore Lenoir on the other. And then John Lynch heard about that. And he's like, wait, no, we need Charvarius Ward to trail DK Metcalf. And he did a great job 2 weeks ago. Only gave up 1 catch on 6 targets to DK. Charvarius Ward gets hurt on the first possession of this game today. Very first possession, he gets hurt, groin injury, tries to come back in, doesn't work. He's just kind of on the exercise bike on the sideline doing some calisthenics, but they decide to shut him down. So, I mean, and then shortly after that, DK Metcalf catches a 31-yard touchdown against Ambry Thomas on the go route. So the 49ers are a little bit nervous at this point, right? But Metcalf, that was his final catch of the game. The 49ers went to their replacements. That meant a bigger role for Ambry Thomas. That meant Isaiah Oliver coming back off the bench, playing at slot cornerback. It wasn't perfect. Oliver gave up to Tyler Lockett, one of the great slot receivers in the game. He gave up a big third down right ahead of that touchdown. But the 49ers made it work with a back end that wasn't their A group. Last month, they already lost Talanoa Hufanga. Jair Brown had an interception today, almost had a second pick today on that ball that was fluttering up in the air. Then Fred Warner decided to give his Willie Mays impersonation, run under it, steal the interception from Jair Brown. But all week I was talking about how good Jair Brown has been in coverage, right, as a rookie. That really just underscores how deep this 49ers team is. It underscores the culture. It underscores the talent. You kind of have a rookie plug in there, already has 2 picks, probably should have been 3. But give Fred Warner his due because he's playing as one of the best defensive players in football. Should be in that Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Absolutely. I mean, Warner, let me look at the stats here. Led the 49ers with 8 tackles. Obviously, that interception, that was a pass defense. Then he got into it there with DK Metcalf and taunted DK a little bit after the game, saying, oh, DK, you got to keep your composure a little bit better. And it's true. I mean, on the play, DK Metcalf, Warner tried to lateral the ball to Dre Greenlaw, right? Metcalf suplexed Warner without the football. Metcalf's defense was, well, I didn't know Warner no longer had the ball. You probably should be paying better attention. But DK said that wasn't a dirty play. We don't know if it was or not. Fred Warner then, as you know, is his right in the open field because DK Metcalf is a deadly force in the open field after turnovers. We saw him run down Budda Baker a couple years ago. Fred Warner wanted to eliminate DK Metcalf from the play. So he goes and he hits DK Metcalf, and then Metcalf goes and grabs Fred Warner's face mask, actually loses his composure. And Warner's the one that just put his hands up at that point. Obviously, what Metcalf did was something that would get him ejected. Deommodore Lenoir then flew in to try to help out his teammate, and he shoved Metcalf, and he got ejected too. I don't think Kyle Shanahan was happy with Lenoir for escalating it to that level, but by and large, the 49ers were the more composed team today. When you look back at what happened with Ambry Thomas and Jackson Smith, Najigba, and then when you look at what happened with DK Metcalf there at the end and that altercation with Fred Warner with Deommodore Lenoir coming in, I think you saw a Seahawks team that was awfully frustrated. I think the 49ers are far into their heads. It's, 5 straight wins now for the 49ers over the past 2 seasons against Seattle. 3 last year and 2 this year. It's the first time that Pete Carroll has been swept by 2 NFC West opponents since his tenure in Seattle started back in 2010. So it's been, well over a decade. And the Rams and the 49ers have both swept the Seahawks. I think it's the first time that Pete Carroll's lost 4 straight games. This essentially eliminates the Seattle Seahawks from NFC West contention. The Rams, meanwhile, lost. The 49ers just have to win next week, and they will have clinched the NFC West. They're now 10-3 after this sweep of Seattle. By no means was this a perfect game. I think the 49ers didn't tackle well. If Seattle definitely looked like the fresher team, the 49ers definitely were leaking oil on the interior D line. Javon Hargrave, hamstring injury. We're going to get more details on that probably tomorrow. You didn't see Eric Armstead. We knew he was going to be out. So it was back to like 2022 with that anemic interior D line. So the 49ers had to line Nick Bosa up in the middle there on some of those snaps. They were getting creative. They were going D-end heavy in this game, but they made it work. Thanks to guys like Jair Brown, thanks to Warner, thanks to Ambry Thomas. Hell, Isaiah Oliver, I thought, did some good things for the 49ers. They're flexing their depth. They're winning playoff type of games. They're winning these gritty type of games, which everybody said a few weeks ago, and Fred Warner was leading the charge saying the 49ers had to win these type of games, the games that weren't pretty. And they're doing it. Now, I've gone, 11 minutes now, and I haven't really talked about the locomotive that's pulling this train. That's because I wanted to let more people come into the room. But the 49ers are historically good offensively. The 49ers, I mean, today was explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. Like I said, Brock Purdy is an explosive play merchant. He is now averaging 9.9 yards per attempt. That is tied for the highest mark since the AFL-NFL merger of 1970 with Kurt Warner and the Greatest Show on Turf Rams in 2000. 9.9 yards per attempt. Every single time Brock Purdy drops back to pass, the 49ers are essentially averaging a first down. That includes all of the negative plays, too. That's yards per attempt. All the negative plays are under that umbrella. I mean, what we are seeing from this 49ers offense is staggering. We have never seen this level of efficiency in 49ers history, and that included Joe Montana and Steve Young. I get it. That was a different era. This is a more offensive era. So I'm just comparing it to all of NFL history right now. And you got to give the Greatest Show on Turf Rams, who I think have a lot in common with these 49ers, and they won a Super Bowl, obviously. But you have to give those Greatest Show on Turf Rams a lot of credit because they did this in 99 and 2000. But the parallels of the 49ers, well, yeah, they had weapons too. They had Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce. 49ers have Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. I mean, this team is absolutely loaded, but that doesn't change Purdy's job. Purdy's job is to distribute the ball to these playmakers, even in the face of pressure. And there was some pressure today from Seattle. I mean, they were bringing some heat early on, and they were also choking off some of the 49ers' bread and butter throws over the middle. And Purdy said, I don't care. I'm just going to stretch the field on you. 54-yarder to Deebo Samuel. How long was the touchdown to George Kittle? 44-yarder to George Kittle. 72-yard run for Christian McCaffrey to start the game. The run left. I mean, how deadly is that left side of the offensive line? I mean, the 49ers at this point, they completely outclassed Seattle's defense 2 weeks ago. But it's hard to turn around and do the same thing to them on such short notice because Seattle's obviously going to try to plug the holes that were so apparent on Thanksgiving night. So they try to plug the holes on the throws over the middle. And maybe they read too much Twitter. Maybe they watched too many random YouTube videos that were saying that Brock Purdy's a dink and dunk quarterback that he can't throw downfield. Again, Brock Purdy literally leads the NFL in completion percentage on deep passes. Brock Purdy literally leads the NFL on deep pass touchdowns. And if the Seahawks thought that they're going to beat Brock Purdy that way, they learned a really, really hard lesson today. I mean, he was just rifling the ball to all parts of the field. I thought that Purdy's best play today, the most impressive one, the one that answered the most questions that I've had about Brock Purdy, he's rolling left away from the pressure, right? It was a 7-step drop, roll left. And that had been Purdy's kryptonite last year. That had been at best a throwaway last year. This time he threw Brandon Ayuk open. It was like, holy crap, did you see what Brock Purdy did on this play? I mean, he rolls all the way to the sideline, throws Brandon Ayuk open over the defensive back, 30-yard throw, drops it in a bucket. I mean, this is elite stuff from Brock Purdy. I'm going to open up the QB stats right now. We're going to see where Purdy is in the big picture of things, on one of those graphs. Because this was a career high 368 passing yard performance. He's only the fourth quarterback in NFL history to complete at least 70% of his passes in 7 straight games. The last quarterback to do it in 8 straight games is Joe Montana. So if Brock Purdy goes out there on Sunday in Arizona and completes 70% of his passes, he will have tied Joe Montana with an 8-game streak. Oh, my God. Look at this. Purdy, top right club. Holy crap. This is something. This is absolutely something. Now, he had been good every single week, but just wait until you see this. X and Y axis. Look where Brock Purdy's at. Indisputably the MVP right now. The most valuable player is a quarterback. I'm not saying that's the best player. That's not the argument we're having. I think Christian McCaffrey has, and even Deebo Samuel have good best player arguments. I'm Tyreek Hill has a great argument too. But we don't waste our time with stupid positional comparisons. We realize that football is different positions all trying to work as a team toward a common goal. And Brock Purdy, as you can see right here, is executing his job, which is the QB's job, almost to perfection. Xaxis is completion percentage above expectations. That's accuracy. So you want to be further to the right. Y-axis is expected points added per play. That's efficiency. Prescott's been really good. We saw him tonight. Hurts has been good this year. Nobody's saying Hurts has been bad. Josh Allen, I thought he had a hell of a throw against the Chiefs today. Tua's been good. Russell Wilson's been accurate. The Broncos haven't been particularly efficient. But, even Mahomes has been in the top right. That's good too. And then you have Brock Purdy in the top right. I mean, what he is doing right now is absolutely staggering. Mike, can you send me my question to Trent Williams and Trent Williams' answer? We have to watch that. We have to watch what Big Trent said about Brock Purdy. I brought up to Trent in the locker room. I said, hey, the Niners, what they're doing in terms of explosive play rate, it's about 16%. You haven't seen an explosive play rate like that in the NFL since the Greatest Show on Turf Rams, who are at 16.5%. Because today the 49ers couldn't really even get into rhythm for whatever reason. Some of it was, there was a fumble. Julian Love forced after an explosive pass to Brandon Ayuk. There was the interception that I believe was Ayuk's fault, but I don't want to throw him under the bus. That went off of Ayuk's hands because he stopped on the route instead of continuing. Julian Love made a great pick. There were a couple bad protections from the 49ers that led to quick sacks from the Seahawks. They couldn't get into a play-by-play rhythm, but it doesn't matter because they're so damn good that they just go with it's like Madden on rookie mode. It's just explosive, explosive, explosive. Again, Brock Purdy doesn't check the ball down. He throws down. He pushes it downfield. Explosive, explosive, explosive. He is an explosive play merchant. That's we can make T-shirts. Explosive play merchant for Brock Purdy. He is. It is something. Again, this is arguably something that we have never seen before in the NFL. And if we want to say that we've seen it, we can draw the comparison to the Greatest Show on Turf Rams. And that offense is what is driving the show for the 49ers because the defense was leaking a bit of oil. I talked about it, right? Interior defensive line without Armstead, without Javon Hargrave. They're going to need both of these guys back when the Ravens come in a couple weeks on Christmas Day. But it's about the here and now. You have to find different ways to win in the NFL. You're not going to always win in the same fashion. Some days you're going to have to use offense. Some days you're going to have to use special teams. Some days you're going to have to use defense. Some days you're going to have to use all three. Today almost looked like an all three type of day, right? Mitch Wishnowsky, the fake punt. Mitch actually improvised on that play. At least that's what he said. That's what Kyle Shanahan said. They didn't call the fake punt. Mitch Wishnowsky decided to run with it. Now, unfortunately, Ronnie Bell slipped. And because he slipped, it was an illegal block. And it got called back. But Mitch Wishnowsky supposedly hit 20 miles per hour on that fake punt. So we saw all phases of the game with at least entertaining contributions, although special teams didn't count in this game. And, I just thought that even though they didn't count, it was a little bit of payback towards Seattle, who had that fake punt with Travis Homer in 2021, put the 49ers behind the 8 ball in Seattle. But anyway, stats for the 49ers. Purdy, 368 yards, career high, 13.6 per attempt, 19 of 27. Look at the balance on the 49ers offense. The balance on the offense, you got Deebo Samuel, 7 for 149. Brandon Ayuk, 6 for 126. Kittle, 3 for 76. You have longs of 54 yards for Deebo Samuel, 45 yards for Brandon Ayuk, 44 yards for George Kittle. I mean, and this is all, again, explosive play merchant. McCaffrey, 16 carries, 145 yards, 9.1 per pop. The 72-yarder off the left side to open this game. Current MVP odds. Brock Purdy is second right now to Dak Prescott. Purdy's odds have improved, but Prescott's have improved more. Plus 150 for Prescott, plus 200 for Brock Purdy. And then Tagovailoa and Hurts, Lamar Jackson, plus 800. I'll say this. The Cowboys have a tough schedule to finish this season. The 49ers get to play the Ravens. Outside of that, I think it's really manageable. But I do think that Ravens game is going to be Brock Purdy's chance to deliver a closing statement, a resounding closing statement for the MVP award. The moment that Dallas loses another game, and I think that's probably coming given the fact that they're playing some tough games coming up. I think they even have Miami on the schedule. The moment that Dallas loses a game, Dak is going to drop. So Brock Purdy just needs to hold serve steady every week. And then if he leads a win over the Ravens on this field, Christmas Day, Monday Night Football, I think that could be what effectively seals the most valuable player award for Brock Purdy, which we've been talking about since week 4 on here. The talk started here. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. The talk started here, and all we did was objectively follow what Brock Purdy was doing. We're not trying to trash Brock Purdy. We're not trying to denigrate his performance for clickbait. We're just watching great football, and hopefully I've given you some historical perspective for it. Defensively, how about Bosa and Chase Young lining up on the same side? I go up to Chase in the locker room after the game, and I just asked him, how much fun are you having? How much? And he literally put his bag down. He's walking out, put his bag down to talk, and this biggest smile comes across Chase Young's face, and he's like, "Man, I'm having so much fun." It kind of gave me chills. I just love covering sports, and I know how much these athletes put into it, and I know what it means to strain and go through adversity, and then hit your stride after putting in all that work, and also be able to do it with guys that you've grinded with, right? I mean, Nick Bosa and Chase Young go back to Ohio State. Well, back in 2018, that was the year that they like their primes at Ohio State overlapped, so to speak. Bosa got hurt after 3 games. He didn't play another game for the Buckeyes. So they never really got to go deep into a season and experiment with pass rushing combinations like we're seeing right now with the 49ers. They didn't get the Young and Bosa, like that was a lot of unrealized potential at Ohio State because of Bosa's injury. So now that they've had a chance to get their feet wet together with the 49ers, and now because the defensive tackles are hurt, the 49ers are running what they call their NASCAR package, an homage to what the Super Bowl Giants ran. They're running a lot of defensive ends out there because Armstead and Hargrave are hurt, and they're using Bosa on the inside. Sometimes they're using Young on the inside, and they're lining them both up on the same side, and it totally overwhelmed the Seattle line. There was a play where Bosa lined up over center today. Randy Gregory deserves opportunities because he's playing so well. And Randy Gregory, he's getting those opportunities because you're getting Chase Young and Nick Bosa to play defensive tackle. I mean, it's like a selfless kind of thing, but it's also opening up so many different possibilities because on the inside, the guards, that's a much different brand of football, right? It's like a boxing match in a phone booth on the inside versus all the space on the outside. But the 49ers have the defensive ends who could bring their athleticism to the stockier guards on the inside. And they could use that athleticism to build leverage to overpower them. I saw Seattle's entire right side of the O-line collapse, even despite the fact they were trying to chip and slide block on that side when Bosa and Young teamed up. And I asked Chase Young about that, and like I said, he is thrilled about it. He is thrilled about it. Cleveland Farrell, good game for the 49ers. 2 tackles for loss. He had a sack. He rubbed his belly. That was an homage to Eric Armstead's celebration. Remember, Kinlaw wore Armstead's jersey coming into this game. That was something, wasn't it? Here, let's find that really quickly. think I could pop it open on the old Twitter. Tracy Sandler got a great video of that. She was here early, and she got the video of Kinlaw walking in. Let's get that. Here it is. Let's get Kinlaw walking in his Eric Armstead jersey. That is him. So I asked Javon Kinlaw, where'd you get the jersey? Did you get it from Eric Armstead? And he said no. He literally went to the team store. So Javon Kinlaw went to the team store this week to buy his Eric Armstead jersey. No, he considers Armstead a mentor. 4 years older than them, Eric Armstead is. I remember their careers started in similar fashion. Eric was hurt a lot early on too. They got similar body types. They're both monoliths. I mean, they're both big, big dudes. So the fact that Armstead has figured out how to stay available, dominate on the inside, and the fact that, I mean, he's such a pillar in the community as well. He's been a guiding light for Javon Kinlaw. That tells you so much about the culture of this 49ers team. I hear about jersey swaps and all this all the time. That's great. But how about going to the team store, buying a jersey of your teammate, and then honoring him, respecting him when he's not playing that day by wearing it to the game, walking in from the parking lot? And then the rest of the guys are rubbing their bellies after sacks in honor of Armstead, too. I mean, there's something about not just the star power that the 49ers have, but the way that they band together and the way that they try to cohesively fill in on the margins depth-wise when some of that star power is unavailable. And you all saw the Walter Payton Man of the Year video the 49ers made about Eric Armstead. He is very, very well respected in this 49ers team. They want to vacuum this room, so I'm going to have to get going here in a little bit. But he's so well respected in the 49ers locker room that even guys like Randy Gregory and Chase Young, who like are new on the team, they've only been with the team for a few weeks, they glow about him. I mean, they were part of the video that the 49ers made. So anyway, the 49ers are now the number one team in the NFC. When you look to see just how dominant this team has been, and why don't we open up the team tier chart just to kind of put a wrap on this? The team tier chart's going to show you. And, I like that we could cut out garbage time. We don't have to cut out garbage time. We could go either way with this. The 49ers, I mean, here, we'll do it first with garbage time included, and then we'll cut out garbage time after. This will just, I show it every week, and every week it's significant. The 49ers are the best team in football. The Cowboys might be bordering on tier one now, and what they did to the Eagles, I don't think was all that surprising. I think the 49ers did provide the blueprint, and the Cowboys have good players. They're not as good as the 49ers. I mean, 49ers beat both the Cowboys and the Eagles by 3+ scores, but they're right there. The Dolphins and the Cowboys are going to play. That's going to be big in Dak Prescott's MVP candidacy. The 49ers and the Ravens, who are on the same tier as the Cowboys and the Dolphins, they're going to play. That's going to be big in Brock Purdy's MVP candidacy. But it's the 49ers and everybody else. And then if you want a second tier, well, it's the 49ers, the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Dolphins. The Bills aren't bad, and the Bills beat the Chiefs today, and it's everybody else. The Eagles are closer to everybody else than they are to the 49ers. Now, I promised you we'd take out the garbage time on here. So why don't we do that really quickly? Why don't we do win probability 10 to 90 to see how these teams are performing when the game is not yet decided. And the 49ers are in a similar spot, as you'll see right about now. There they are. But you see teams like Dallas fall off defensively when you exclude garbage time. So, 49ers Miami, 49ers Ravens. So the big development over the past few weeks is that the Dolphins have started playing good enough defense to really be taken seriously. And the Cowboys have to be taken seriously. I know that the 49ers smashed them back in week 5, but Dallas can play. Dallas can prey on the football. Dallas can tilt the game in its favor if you don't play a clean game against them. Not saying the 49ers are worse than the Cowboys. I'm just saying that the Cowboys are one of the chief challengers this year for the 49ers, who are really damn good, and they've already beaten both the Cowboys and the Eagles by 3 scores. All right, 30 minutes. Lombardi leaves Levi's will be next. Maybe I'll do a video walking out of here. Maybe one from In-N-Out Burger. It's only $9.19, but nice little crowd here. This has been fun. 49ers are now the number 1 team in the NFC. The Eagles just got skunked by the Cowboys, 33-13. The blueprint indeed there. The 49ers sweep the Seahawks, double-digit win. All 10 of the 49ers wins this year have come by double digits. I'm counting that Rams one too, because they kicked that cheap field goal at the end. But that's how strong the 49ers have been as a team. Now they got to heal up, lick their wounds. Arizona next week, they're going to be heavy favorites. Baltimore on this field 2 weeks from tomorrow, Monday Night Football, Christmas Day. Everybody, thanks for watching. I'm about to leave Levi's.